Welcome back to the Baltimore Flockcast, the number one Ravens podcast in the world. Sorry the voice is still a little iffy. We're recording here on Wednesday. I definitely damaged the vocal cords a little bit at the Ravens-Lions Monday night game. Brutal loss. Did not feel good to be in attendance for that one. I can definitely tell you guys that, but it was a great time and we lost to a good team. Usually I break these down into two videos, but I don't want to harp over the bad things and the losses. So let's just address the loss here quickly. Players didn't execute, especially with us missing our two guys up front. Absolutely killed us. There was gaping holes. Obviously, just a lot of errors all around on not just the defense, on every side of the ball. Lamar even had a pretty bad game. I'm a huge Lamar guy. You never really hear me dissing on Lamar, but yeah, Lamar Jackson's one of the greatest players, arguably of all time. And I'll make that argument any day of the week. But you can admit the guy has a bad game from time to time. Not saying he was terrible, but it wasn't a great game at all. Let's be honest. Zay Flowers was completely shut down. I think this was the reason why Lamar had such an issue against their defense with the Lions. Lamar was forced to look elsewhere. As we saw, he targeted the hell out of Mark Andrews, really dished the rock around a good bit. Zay Flowers really had no looks, it felt like. He was just a ghost. But Zay Flowers was completely shut down. Honestly, I think this might be the best game plan that I've seen created to stop Lamar, or at least as of recent. Lamar looked uncomfortable out there. You take away Zay, and at least just right now in this time, he's not comfortable, not who he is. I guess he lost something with Mark over the past year with what happened, quite possibly. Confidence, trust. And yeah, he definitely built something crazy over the past couple of years with Zay Flowers, but it did kind of worry me that if you take away Zay, I'm not going to say panics, but definitely did not look comfortable in that one at all. We can come back to that in just a second here. I know my takes are obviously different, or they could be different, but I'm just going to say that I was at the game. I didn't get to watch the same exact picture on TV as you guys did with the replays and everything. So keep that in mind. We'll come back to Lamar maybe in a second. I keep hearing the fire Harbaugh talk. Guys, once again, who do you want to hire then? Who's going to replace him? Please let me know. Also, what did John Harbaugh do wrong in this game? Please let me know that as well. When I was at the game, there's nothing that stuck out to me that was terrible on the coaching side. I think John coached a good game. Unfortunately, he was outcoached. The better team won. Better coach won. We were outmanned, outcoached, out everything, outclassed. The better team won. It's just unfortunate. We were missing our two guys up front. It looked bad having Nnamdi and Travis being out. But Nnamdi's injury is not great. We'll talk about that later. I'm pretty worried about that one if we're going to be honest. It's a neck injury, and neck injuries are never a good thing. We can't fire Harbaugh. I hate that discussion. It's idiotic. But this does set a bad precedent with them shutting down Zay. Is this going to be what teams try to replicate to beat the Ravens? Yes, we lost in week one, but we lost to Josh Allen. And so let's be honest. This is no diss at all to the Lions as well. The Lions are a great team. But I haven't seen Lamar look uncomfortable like that in quite some time. Yeah, I'm also happy that Mark Andrews had a great game, but it wasn't, I guess, in the way you wanted it to. You want all the boys to perform. But I don't want to harp on the loss too much. But I definitely noticed that. That was my biggest takeaway from the game is you take away Zay like they did, and Lamar kind of is going to freak out a little bit. And we saw that happen, and it didn't look great. Hopefully we can use this as a tool, grow on it in practice, work on it, spread the rock around a little bit, develop that confidence with the rest of the boys. I will say the vibe at the game was absolutely incredible. I hated every Lions fan there. I just got to put that out there. I know you're not watching, but if you are the guy in the stupid Lions luchador mask, you're the worst. That's all. Oh, can't forget about this. The fumbles, man. The Derrick Henry fumbles, I wish I had an answer for you guys. I don't know what's going on. This man has never had a fumbling issue in any part of his life. He, high school, college, any time ever in the NFL. This has never been a thing. So this is my take. The first fumble happened. They happen every once in a while, but it happened in a very crucial moment against Buffalo. Then it happened again. And I think it could be a mix of two things. I think since it was such a big moment in Buffalo that it really stuck around in his head and it resonated with him. And maybe that it was on his mind, so you know how nature works. Something's on your mind, something bad, something negative, it's probably going to happen. He's overthinking it, and boom, fumble number two happens. And then since he's so in his own head, everyone's freaking out. Oh, Derrick Henry's fumbled twice. Then it becomes a mind game thing. And then we're just playing mind gymnastics. I'm not trying to speak for the guy, but this is my guess of what's possibly going on because Derrick's never had this issue before. Maybe this is a mental issue. And man, the only person that can help him get through this is himself if it's a mental issue. There's nothing worse than being an athlete, really working in your own career and having just a mental block that doesn't allow you to do something that you used to always do. I don't want to say the Y word. If you watch baseball, you know what I'm talking about. It's a cursed word. So let's get into some positive stuff. It's Chiefs hate week, Swifty hate week, Kansas City hate week, whatever you want to call it. I'm the first to say this, that, you know what? Baltimore barbecue is better than Kansas City barbecue. I'll take our pit beef over any of their food. I'm waiting for you guys to get angry. I'm going to pause. But yeah, I am only saying that because I've never had barbecue from Kansas City. But the stuff that you see at like Famous Dave's and all like the chain stores, one has a Kansas City name on it, it's not very good. So you guys suck. But back to football. Enough of that stupid stuff here. Both teams are 1-2. Who would have thought, man, coming into this game, the Chiefs and the Ravens would be 1 win and 2 losses? Also terrifies me because one of these teams has to be 1-3, and neither of them deserves to be 1-3. I'm sure we all would make the argument that the Chiefs deserve to be 1-3 way more than we do. Could that be bias? Who cares? And for any Chiefs fans that are listening, you maybe even might agree with us. Who knows? Because it hasn't been great and it hasn't been pretty. But it definitely scares me that both teams are 1-2 coming into this because they're both going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're fighting extra hungry because they know they're better than that. But no matter what happens, guys, I'm going to bring us down to earth here. If, by God, we happen to drop another game, it's not the end of the world. Joe Burrow's most likely out for the rest of the season. The Cleveland Browns are terrible. And that leaves us with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the only thing we have to worry about. And I know they've looked pretty decent so far this year, but if I'm being honest, I'm not worried about the Steelers. So that means the only real thing that we have to face and overcome is ourselves. As long as we don't really shoot ourselves in the foot, we're okay. If you finish one game, or sorry, I guess 2 games over 500, you're going to be better than the Steelers. So we have a lot of breathing room here, especially going off of the past track record of the Steelers. They love to scrape in at 9-8 every single year. So we might be okay, even if we drop this one, guys. But it will suck. It will feel terrible. But I think we are going to win this game. So enough of that negative talk, even though it has been a really negative way to start this season. A big thing that we are going to have to do in this game is not just stopping Mahomes in the normal way that we've seen every time we've ever played him. Mahomes has been running a lot recently, which is kind of cool to see him scramble around. really go back to his roots, I guess you could say. The dude's got no help. He's throwing like Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster, and former Raven Hollywood Brown. Reunion for him. I miss him, I'll be honest. But it's okay. We got a better version of him with Zay Flowers, so I'm not too upset with that one. I will be honest with the injuries that we have on our interior defensive line. I am a bit worried with containing Mahomes on the ground. That seems like it's going to be an issue. Also worried about us stopping the run because we showed that we can't do that anymore. Nnamdi and we're going to talk about our injuries later, but Nnamdi's definitely going to be out for this game. I'm going to announce that immediately, right away. He's at least out for this week, possibly a lot longer. So we're going to have to learn how to stop the run without Nnamdi. I'm not saying one man does everything, but when you lose a really big piece like that, it hurts. Unfortunately, this is a Hollywood Brown revenge game. Playing against his former team, got everything to show and prove. But saying that, I think it's kind of cool to sit back and look at the career, not what he's done, but just the career this man's had. He played in college with Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma, right? Goes on to the NFL, plays with Lamar Jackson, and then leaves the Ravens, plays with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It's pretty cool, gotta say. And he may have played with maybe more than Baker in college because the age difference, but that's pretty awesome just going off of those three quarterbacks. Sorry if I missed a big one. I'm sure I did because Oklahoma breeds QBs. But I don't want to butcher it and say someone's name wrong here. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. But either way, just playing with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes in your NFL career is a pretty fun start as a receiver. Do I think Hollywood's going to have a huge revenge game? I'll be honest. I'm slightly worried that he could pop off against us, just looking at how our defense has been the past couple weeks, really all year. But also, Hollywood Brown's my fantasy team. And I guess the best way to put this is if I really thought Hollywood was going to do great, I'd probably start him. And I'm not starting him this week. So I guess take that as you will. I think there's definitely a chance he pops off, but it's not high or likely. We really need sorry for the voice crack, man. It's rough from the Ravens game on Monday. We really need our interior defensive line to step up. We need to come together as a group. We need guys that aren't household names to really carry the load here. Anais Peebles, I'm really calling you out, man. Was a big fan in the draft. It kind of sounded like I was going to say he's like sucked or something. No, I didn't mean like that, but big fan of you pre-draft. Was really hyped coming into this season. It's your time to shine, bud. Let's see it. Also with the defense, I really think we could see Chuck Pagano having more of a role coaching-wise with this defense, helping out Zach Orr as well, because really going through a lot of issues here for a young defensive coordinator. It's probably a lot to handle. It's biting off more than you can chew, some would say, or I wouldn't, but a lot of people are calling for Zach Orr's head. It's way too soon. It's way too early to make change. We need to calm down. Stop making us look so bad as a fan base. Baltimore sports fans are the worst. And that's coming from a Baltimore sports fan. Calm down, all right? But I will say this. If, for some reason, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes pull up on our boy Loop like they did to Justin Tucker. You guys remember that infamous moment. I will drive the Arrowhead myself and fight for Tyler Loop. That will be also kind of cool if that did happen. They try to fight our new kicker. But just keep that in mind. They tried to fight Tucker. It's possible. I hate those guys. Ugh. But I guess we'll go into our health check here because it's getting pretty important at this time. And this isn't a segment that I like to keep on the podcast because if it's going well, everyone's healthy. You don't need to talk about it. But evidently, here we are. I'm really worried about Nnamdi, as we talked about him earlier. He has the neck injury. This is something we really got to keep an eye on because I'm not a doctor and you aren't either, but if your friend hurt their neck, you'd be pretty worried. Unless you're Kurt Angle, coming back from a neck injury is pretty hard. Nnamdi's already ruled out for Sunday. And guys, I'm going to be the bearer of bad news. This is coming from a guy that loves the Orioles, I'm sure, as most of you guys do. But when Grayson, sorry, this is a bit of a side tangent, but when Grayson Rodriguez was going through all the injuries, issues he's had his whole career, really. But when this year started and he had that setback and we found out he wasn't going to be playing opening day, I told myself there's a chance that Grayson's probably never going to play again. I'm not saying Nnamdi's here, of course. I'm not saying he's never going to play again. But there's sometimes when you see that a player is out for a couple of weeks and they're going to reevaluate. You just got to temper expectations and get a little worried. In Grayson's sense, I was worried because he had so many injuries, especially to the same thing. It's not a good sign for a pitcher. But back to football with Nnamdi, it's a neck injury, and especially for playing his position, interior defensive line, that's troubling. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if we're going to see Nnamdi back in the regular season, or maybe this year. And just for your own mental health, it probably would just be better for you to not expect him to come back and play this year. Because if he does come back, it's a bonus, and that's a great thing. So prayers up to Nnamdi Madubuike. I hope you are recovering quickly, everything goes well, and you come back 100%, if not even better. Kyle Van Noy, Pat Ricard, and Isaiah Likely are all, at the moment, when we're recording Wednesday, they're questionable. I think that there's a good chance that we see all three of them play this weekend. I'm not saying we have the inside source here, but my girlfriend did, my fiance did comment on Isaiah Likely's post, and she responded, so I think Isaiah Likely might be playing in the game. I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of optimism from his girlfriend, wife. I'm not sure what she is to him, sorry. We're just going to say wife. I'm not sure if her showing optimism really is the indicator that he's going to play, but I'm feeling good. She's feeling good. It's been a few weeks. I'm thinking this guy gets back here on Sunday. And don't forget, guys, it's a 4 o'clock game. Kind of threw me for a loop seeing that it was a 4:25 kickoff. But you know the Chiefs. They only get games that aren't at 1 for some reason. I know they're in the middle of the country, but still. We signed Taven Bryan to the practice squad, former first rounder in 2018. We also added Josh Tapu. I definitely pronounced that wrong, but it sounds cooler the way I said it, for being real. But Tapu was on our P squad last year, and I think this is yet another indicator that things aren't great for Nnamdi Madubuike. Yes, you could also argue, even if he was just out for this week, which they already have declared, the Chiefs game, they would add at least 1 or 2 players to the practice squad because, little injury bug, and we got demolished when he missed the game. We need it. Yeah, you could say that. But I think it's definitely something that raises some eyebrows and gets me a little bit worried. But a lot of people bring up, Christian Wilkins is out there. Could we add him? He's a great player. I don't know if you guys remember what happened, but Christian Wilkins was released from the Raiders for some very strange reasons. There was a big fight in the locker room because he kissed a player on the forehead. And then a lot of players started coming out afterwards and saying he would do a lot of strange things in the locker room and he was a very sick person and he needs help. Things like that scare me, especially when you're a really good team like the Ravens and adding, I'm not calling him a locker room cancer, but whatever happens, strange. We can all say that. But adding that to what we got going on, it could be a recipe for disaster. It's definitely true. Also, Christian Wilkins is a dog, so it's hard. But I've been watching football all my life. I've never seen something like this with him happen where dude gets cut for kissing a teammate. It's really strange to me. I would think that personally, if he doesn't have any like close friends on the Ravens from like either college or just growing up, it's not worth it because that's strange. That puts a weird dynamic into our locker room. But excuse me, if he happens to be good friends with someone in the locker room, maybe we could take the chance. From what I know, don't think he's really friends with anyone on our team because he went to Clemson, from what I remember. So yeah, I don't think he's good friends with anyone on our squad, but who knows? But if I had to choose or say, I do not think we add him to our squad because it's just a little bit too much of a risk there. Altogether in Chiefs hate week, what do I think is going to happen? Kelsey hasn't been great this year. This dude's 1 foot into making movies and hanging out with his billionaire fiance, so can't really blame him. Mahomes has no help, but people also argue that Lamar has no help. So I guess this is just the battle of the dudes with no help, according to the media. I think this doesn't feel good making prediction anymore, man. God. I think that we're going to come out here and we're going to win this pretty handily. Yes, both teams need to kind of do exactly that because they're 1-2. If I'm being honest, we are a much better team than the Chiefs. The Chiefs play feels like every primetime slot possible, at least so far this year they have. And they haven't looked good. They looked awful. Even when they win, that game against the Giants did not look good. Yet we're the opposite. We look amazing in losses, which doesn't feel good to say. I just cannot fathom us winning this or losing this game. And I also can't fathom us winning this game by less than 10 points. I'd say Ravens win this 38-20. We win by 18 points. Pretty dominating fashion. Lamar gets his groove. I'm not going to say gets his groove back because it was one iffy game. But I will say this, though. If Lamar beats Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs by more than 2 touchdowns, dude's going to feel good. It's got to feel great, especially everything that's happened in the playoffs past few years. And then losing to his, I don't know if you're going to call him a rival, but losing to his rival Josh Allen week 1. Damn, it would just feel good for Lamar to smack Mahomes around. So I'm saying 38-20. Maybe this is another get right game. Hopefully we don't have to do this every other week where we're saying episodes are get right games. But 38-20. Please God, don't let Derrick Henry fumble again. Get over this mental hump. Altogether, 38-20, Ravens win. This is Kansas City. This is Chiefs Hate Week. Thank you guys for coming out. Go Ravens. Like, subscribe. Give us 5 stars. And let me know if you guys see the Flockcast stickers around the stadium. I know I saw a bunch on Utah Street and on a few things at Camden Yards. So that's kind of cool. But thank you guys. We'll see you next week.